time you're done with one case, you got 10 more files. So yeah,
well, except that it wouldn't be because I've been there after trial. I logged about. I was on the.
Court will come to order. All rise. Circuit Court for the state of Florida is now in session with the Honorable Judge Michael T. McHugh presiding.
Okay, please remain standing for the Lee County Sheriff's Office honor guard.
Move forward. One.
D2. Oh. Colors left. Move. Freeze in. Arms.
All right, at this time, Judge Garza's judicial assistant, Heather Coblius's children, Eliona and Zanea, will perform the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Colors right. Move. Forward. March.
Okay, please be seated. All right, I want to welcome everyone to Judge Garza's investiture. I'm so excited to be here and to have the honor to preside over her investiture. I remember the first time that I met Judge Garza. It actually was in public with her father, and I began talking to her father, who introduced me to Lindsay. And what I think I was struck by is I couldn't figure out who smiled the most. They're both such positive people who have such positive energy, and it was really a privilege to get to know her at that point. But it also struck me how incredibly proud her father was. So that struck me as well. As I got to know Lindsay after her election to this position, I have found that she is a very positive person. She always has a smile on her face. She always is very ready to do whatever you're talking about. I once thought about asking her or telling her that we had just created a new docket in the Everglades, just to see if the smile continued. I haven't yet seen her not smile. So we're very excited to have her on board. We're very excited to have her as our new Lee County judge. And like I said, I'm very excited to be here and presided over this investiture, and excited to hear from the speakers and from Judge Garza here in a minute. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask Heather Coblius, Judge Garza's JA, to come forward to give the invocation.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, everyone. Please pray with me. Father God, we thank you for this day. thank you for joining us as we celebrate the newest county court judge, Lindsay Garza. Father, we pray for all of the judges. We lift them up to you, Lord, as they are each anointed at the proper time to do what needs to be done to serve this community. So, Father, we just ask you to bless them, to protect them, both physically and their minds and their hearts, Lord. I pray for their families as well. And for all of those that are in assembly today, Lord, I just pray for your blessing on all of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and have the judges of the 20th Judicial Circuit go ahead and introduce themselves at this point, and we'll start with Judge Leontief.
I'm Judge Eric Leontief, Lee County Civil.
And soon to be Collier County Unified Family Court in about a week. And congratulations to Judge Leontief for getting the circuit court position. So, Judge Leontief.
Lainey Laboda, Circuit Civil, Lee County.
Good afternoon, I'm Elizabeth Creer, and I have 50% of the felony docket in Collier County.
Good afternoon, I'm John McGowan. I serve in Circuit Court in the Felony Division in Collier County, as well as the Veterans Treatment and Mental Health Court.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris Brown, County Court Civil, Collier County.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy Hawthorne. I'm assigned to the Family Court Division and here in Lee County.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Adams, and I'm the judge here in Fort Myers in the Family Law Division as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Muir, and I'm in the Lee County Civil.
Hello, everyone. Gil Perez. I'm in the Unified Family Court here in Fort Myers.
Good afternoon. My name is Josephine Gagliardi. I'm a county court judge, and I also volunteer for Veterans Court, Mental Health Court, and Drug Court. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tara Cascado-Pilot. I am a Lee County criminal judge.
Good afternoon. Judge Janice Martin, Collier County Court Judge, and proud to preside over our drug court program.
Good afternoon. My name is Zach Gill. I'm a Lee County Court Judge. I currently serve in the criminal division. New, as of January.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Branning. I'm in the Circuit Felony Division here in Lee County.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Gentili. I'm the Circuit Civil Judge in Charlotte County.
Hello, I'm Judge George. I am a Lee County Court Judge in the Criminal Division.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judge Lindsay Garza in County Civil.
Okay, there's some other people here that I want to recognize, and I first want to start with our magistrates. Okay, Kim Baselli, I see.
I think I'm the only one today.
Okay, is that Kim Baselli? And Ed is here as well, and I know he's going to be presented. Ed Larson.
Ed Larson, Henry Glade Magistrate.
We really do appreciate our magistrates. They get referred a lot of issues that they deal with so well. They're some of the hardest working people in the courthouse and really appreciate everything. Kim are great examples of that, so really appreciate you guys and what you do. Next, I want to recognize Scott Wilsker. He is our trial court administrator, and so I don't think people next, I want to recognize Scott Wilsker. He is our trial court administrator, and so I don't think people understand a lot of times how big court administration is. I mean, we have 5 counties, 5 courthouses, a whole lot of employees, everything from pre-trial to staff attorneys to judges to judicial assistants. I mean, and the list goes on and on. And every time something happens unexpected, which is daily, he is the one who ultimately has to deal with it. You know, he out of courtesy runs it by me, but he's the one who has to deal with it. And I am coming towards the end of my time as chief judge. And so for 8 years, I've had Scott to basically handle these situations. And it's been very much appreciated. I mean, hurricanes, pandemics, I mean, and just incredible things that you never would have expected. And so Scott does a great job, and thank you.
Thank you.
And we have a number of dignitaries who are in our attendance today who I want to point out. And, you know, most of these people are elected. We have some appointed as well. You know, a lot of times people look at public figures and think, wow, you know, they're so lucky. There is an incredible downside to being a public figure as well. I very, very rarely get letters about, hey, guess what? Judge X, Y, and Z did great in my case. Did wonderful. Really appreciate, you know, all the work that they put into it. You know, JA so-and-so was so courteous, really solved my problem. Generally what they hear is complaints. If something goes wrong, there's a good chance it's going to be in the paper, there's a good chance it's going to be in the media, and they're going to have to deal with it. And it might be fair, it might be unfair, but ultimately they're going to have to deal with it. Very rarely is what is in the paper, you know, so-and-so did a great job. You know, so-and-so really handled this well. And so there's a lot of downside, and we are exceptionally lucky with our public officials here. We have a really great group of people who work really hard. And so as I list these people, I just wanted to say that beforehand because I've been able to work with them and I've really appreciated everything that they've done. And so with that, we have Eden A. Bowden, our Regional Conflict Counsel. Kevin Carnes, Lee County Clerk of Court. We have Amira Fox, our State Attorney. We have Kathy Smith, our Public Defender. Fort Myers Mayor Kevin Anderson. Fort Myers Councilwoman Darla Bottom. Former State Attorney Steve Russell. And former Lee County Sheriff Mike Scott. All right, in someone or group that I actually skipped, which is probably the most important for me as a judge, is judicial assistants. They were actually on the top of the list. I just realized if I could have our judicial assistants. You know, it's kind of funny, and I think I've told this story before, but often in my office, what we will get is someone who calls and normally say something like, hey, I want to sit down with the judge to talk about my case. To which the answer is, well, you can't sit down with the judge and talk about your case. You file a motion, you can have a hearing, you know, the other side has to be there, you know, you can't have ex parte communications, which they normally, if they called to ask the question in the first place, really don't appreciate that answer. And so what they'll do is they'll hang up and call like 2 minutes later, thinking someone else on our staff is going to pick up the phone and they'll get a better answer to their question, you know, and they're very disappointed when they're told, yep, nope, same answer. Well, can we talk to your supervisor? Well, that's the same person we're told you can't talk to. So now, what they put up with, and as Chief Judge, my JA probably has additional issues that she's had to deal with, but it's constant. And basically there are shields. There are one person who basically is a representative for us to the public, and they do so much. And so I think it really is important, you know, each judge up here has one person who does everything for them. And so wanted to acknowledge the JAs and the wonderful work that they do. So thank you. And before I move on, I just want to make sure there aren't any other dignitaries that I missed that I should have. Okay. At this point, I would have Judge Garza stand up and approach the podium for presentations. All right, the first presentation is by the Honorable Devin George, who will present a gift from the Florida Conference of the County Court Judges.
Lindsay, on behalf of the Florida Conference of County Court Judges, I'm standing in for Judge Peter Bell, who is our circuit rep. I know some of you will be upset we don't have a Judge Bell joke, But we are so very proud of you joining our conference, joining us in Lee County. I remember getting to teach you when you were at Charlotte County ASA, and I was disappointed at the time that I didn't get to practice with you because you're up there. Now we get to practice in a different way, but we are very happy. And just to join the she's always smiling, I think since she won the election, there's been a catastrophic hurricane, there's been a pregnancy, she's redoing her house, she's had all things that are stressful on top of a brand new job, and she's done it smiling. So congratulations, we are so happy to have you join.
All right, the local bar associations also have presentations, and we will begin with Spencer Cordell. Even though I almost called someone else just because he was walking out. Spencer Cordell, President of the Lee County Bar Association.
Congratulations on behalf of the Lee County Bar Association. I think I, at least for the presenters today, have the unique perspective of having the opportunity to have cases with you back when you were a new lawyer, or as I like to say, baby prosecutor, and then into the most serious of felony cases. And Lindsay has always been smart, fair, and just. She is and will continue to be an excellent judge.
Next, we have Mayor Trina Soto Garcia, who is here to present as President of the Lee County Association of Women Lawyers.
On behalf of the Lee County Association of Women Lawyers, I'd like to give you a robe, a hanger for your robe that we hope to use every single day, and it reminds you of the great achievement that you've accomplished. We're very proud to have you on the committee. Thank you.
All right, next is Edward Larson, who is President of the Collier County Bar Association, who will present on behalf of the Collier County Bar Association as well as Women's Bar Association, and who last Friday had Chief Justice Muniz comment on what a positive force he has.
Thank you, Judge. Judge Garza, the Collier County Bar Association thinks you're absolutely wonderful. We'd like to have you in Collier County. But I understand that's not going to happen because we just got a new judge from Lee County. We just poached one. So we want to give you our ceremonial clock for your office and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Collier County Women's Bar Association, we think you're absolutely wonderful. We want to have you in Collier County. Judge Martin, I have no idea why I'm covering for the Bar Association. And we have this ceremonial gift set for you. Thank you so much for being here today.
All right, and finally we have Evan Scott, President of the Henry Glades Bar Association, and I don't know I got your last name correct.
It's fine.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. On behalf of the Henry Glades Bar Association, congratulations, Judge Garza. We know you're going to do great. We made you a cup that has your name on it, and every time you drink coffee for those early mornings and stressful days, I hope you think of us. Congratulations.
All right, you can have a seat now. Guest speakers roast, talk about you. Okay, we have two guest speakers here today. The first speaker is Amira Fox. Ms. Fox is the State Attorney for the 20th Judicial Circuit. Judge Garza says that Ms. Fox has helped shape her into the person that she is today. Ms. Fox was elected State Attorney in 2018, becoming the third State Attorney and the first female State Attorney in the 20th Judicial Circuit, and she was reelected in 2022. And I would say that I think that she holds the record for speaking the most time in Investiture. I think says something about how well you're respected as well as the number of your people who become judges.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Lindsay. Hi. And thank you so much for allowing me to share this special day with you and your absolutely wonderful family as you carry on the tradition of excellence and public service, following in the footsteps of your father, who served as our sheriff for so many years, and your wonderful mom, and your grandmother, Abby, who served the community for years as a school teacher. It is so wonderful to watch someone so extraordinary in every way take this role. I know your family is incredibly proud of you, and I want to tell you, your state attorney office family is incredibly proud of you also, and I see so many of them out there to support you and cheer you on, even though they're very angry with you that you left. I first met Lindsay years ago when she started working when she was in high school for the state attorney's office. She worked for our office 3 years while she was in high school. And she never once said who her dad was. All we knew is that she was an incredibly hard worker. And that if you told Lindsay Scott to go move some boxes from Collier County to Glades County, she did it immediately without one complaint. And guess what? I know you can guess the next thing I'm going to say, with a smile on her face. And I am not exaggerating. What a surprise. She carries on that personality and that excellence every single day until today, and she will continue to do so. What a character strength. She displays it day after day. Well, we'll fast forward a few years to the hiring committee meeting of the state attorney's office during the year that Lindsay was hired. The hiring committee was gathered, and I had looked at the list ahead of time, and I thought, this is so exciting. Lindsay's coming back. We're going to get Lindsay back. I couldn't wait for her interview. And I'll tell you what, Lindsay was right on time for her interview. And I mean right on time, because on the nose, Lindsay came running in the door, and we all said, she sat down, and she said she had hit, not herself, but an accident scene, and she was running late. But she was not to be deterred, because she sped all the way down MLK Boulevard, walked into the room, at which time Mr. Hunter, who was on the hiring committee, looked over at her and said, "You just sped past me on Martin Luther King." Well, gee, Lindsay, that was a great start. But it turned into a great career at the SAO. I don't want any of you to think that Lindsay is not law-abiding by that story, because she is to the absolute T. And one of the urban legends floating about Lindsay in the state attorney's office is that when she was in college, her freshman roommate might have been so silly as to be smoking a little weed in the dorm room. And Lindsay was horrified and pointed out to her she should not be doing that. And then she said, "Do you know who my dad is?" So Lindsay is absolutely law-abiding. Those of you who have already worked with Lindsay, her fellow judges now, and of course everybody in the state attorney's office, and of course her family, know what I'm about to say about her is true. And that is that she is one of the most genuinely good and kind people, just like her mom, her father, and her grandmother, that you could ever, ever hope to know. She would always do anything for anybody. Not only that, she is a really hard worker. When she came to work for us, as usual, we were short-staffed, and she moved between offices. She worked in our Charlotte County office, and I know some of your chiefs from that office are here to support you. She worked in our Lee County office. Again, some of our chiefs are here to support her. And she handled some of the most difficult cases. She handled a special victims unit docket. That means you're working with children and adults who have been incredibly traumatized. And Lindsay was the perfect personality to do it. Not only was she great with everybody she worked with, but she was great in the courtroom. She could stand in and do any trial and do it spectacularly every single time. So Judge McHugh just said we're about to do a roast. Well, here's the bad news about the roast. I asked every single person who has worked with Lindsay, can you please give me some roast type stories about Lindsay? And I got back almost across the board, well, Lindsay's way too nice for to ever do anything she could be roasted about. And the next thing I got from many, many people was, can we roast her husband, Danny? I'd say just kidding, Danny, but I really did get that. I got less roast type of stories about Lindsay than I did about Judge Leontev when I just did his investiture speech a few months ago. That's saying a lot, right, Judge? The only complaint I heard about Lindsay was, and this was from your supervisors, Lindsay, well, I don't want her to transfer. I demand that you not transfer her. I don't want her to leave. I can't do this without her. She's invaluable. And that is really true. And the other complaint I heard, Lindsay, was that when you're no longer in the office, we are not going to be able to get any more of your grandmother Appy's famous carrot cake. So judges, congratulations, because I have a feeling you are going to get some of this carrot cake, which is delicious. I did hear about Lindsay. This is not about her, this is about two of our other assistant state attorneys, that on one of her first trips outside the office with an office group to go to a conference, two of our assistant state attorneys, I don't even know if they're here, you know who you are if you are, got into a very big fight about who was going to sit in the front seat. And poor Lindsay, in one of her first trips, sat there looking at them and tried to play peacemaker. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I don't think she's going to have this problem with her fellow judges. But then I thought, well, if anyone has ever driven with Judge Mira, nobody will want to be. You know, our Lee County Felony Chief, Tyler Lovejoy, who I know is back there, told me some really, really nice things about Lindsay. He said on his first day of preparing Lindsay for a trial in Lee County, he was going to sit with her when she transferred to Lee County. And he was going to sit with her in trial. So he said to her, Lindsay, tomorrow I'm going to wear a gray suit and a blue shirt. And Lindsay gave him a thumbs up on the text. Well, unbeknownst to Lindsay, he was telling her this because it was a tradition in Lee County Felony that the trial partners not match exactly. All right? So he was very surprised when here comes Lindsay the next day wearing a gray suit and a blue shirt. And she told him, well, I thought you were very odd. But I did it anyway to be a team player. Well, I have to tell you, I was very surprised by this whole story because Mr. Gardner and I just did a homicide trial in front of Judge Branning, and I was told by Mr. Gardner that we should match outfits every day. So now I think all of you thought we were odd because we did not realize that this felony rule was in place. Mr. Lovejoy told me something else that I thought completely captured the essence of Lindsay Scott Garza, and I'm going to read it to you. Lindsay went out on maternity leave in April of 2021. And John Domerick and I tasked ourselves with covering her docket. We split it right down the middle and got a bird's eye view of her casework. What stood out about Lindsay's casework was not the organization or the detailed notes or the preparation or the care that went into the case, all of which was there. What spoke volumes was that every single person who called, every witness who emailed, every victim who called, all wanted to know, first question, how is Lindsay and how is her baby? That's the impact Lindsay has on people that she works with. The care shines through. People know that she genuinely cares about them. That's the type of person she is. Whether she's in the office, in the grocery store, where you first met her, Judge McHugh, or sitting on the bench, she cares about people. In fact, the same week that that matching outfit incident occurred, Lindsay was preparing with Mr. Lovejoy for another trial, and she said, let's go to the home of the victim, and let's pre-try her there. and she sat on the floor of that person's house to pre-try the victim and played with the victim's children. Again, that's just the type of person she is. I haven't seen Lindsay's chambers here yet, so I'm going to have to rely on all of you to tell me. But I know every time she went to an office in the state attorney's office, it was decorated like, you know, the Home and Garden Network. Everything was hung. I walk into a lot of attorneys' offices and there's nothing hung on the wall, and I think, are you leaving tomorrow? Whereas in Lindsay's case, it's beautiful, fully decorated within 2 days. So I always used to think to myself, well, Lindsay's not going anywhere anytime soon. That unfortunately did not work out for me, but it worked out well for the community and for Southwest Florida, and I think for all her fellow judges. Lindsay, we are so happy for you as you enter this next phase of your career. We know you will handle it with as much grace, intelligence, and excellence as you did at the SAO. And we all wish you continued joy at the role you love the best, and that's being a mom. I hope that you've told your fellow judges and your JA Heather that you need to have the theme song to Moana playing, Moana, whenever you are in your office preparing. And if you haven't heard it, it's a very well-known Disney song. Obviously, I'm too old to know this very well at this point, which is why I pronounce it wrong, but I heard a lot of you recognize that. A theme song about strength, family, love, perseverance, and excellence. And that's you, Lindsay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. The next speaker is Mike Scott. He is a second-generation native to Lee County, and most know him as the former sheriff. But Judge Garza says he is the man who has supported and loved her unconditionally for her whole life. Judge Garza says he is a man of integrity and has instilled that principle in her along with faith, family, and community. His service inspired Judge Garza to serve, which led her to where she is here today. I'd also like to say, Sheriff Scott, whenever I met with him as a judge and him as sheriff, one of the statements that he would always make is, a happy judge is a happy sheriff. And always would say that. We've always had an incredible relationship with the sheriff's office, but with Mike Scott as well as Carmine. But as I was thinking about that, because I always think about that when I see Mike, I thought, Lindsay's now a judge. And so for him to be happy, you have to be happy. And I just have to think there's some way to take that motto and use it to your advantage. But with that, Mike Scott.
Thank you, Judge. Obviously, I'm going to dovetail on that ad lib because I also said that about our school principals. Happy principals make a happy sheriff. Schaefer knows this. Judge Schaefer's son Richard is here. Judge, thank you. I appear before you today not as a probation officer, as I started out 38 years ago in these courtrooms. I'm not here today as a deputy or an elected sheriff. I'm not here today as a retired sheriff. And if it pleases the court as much as it pleases me, I'm not here before you as a defendant. I'm here as a proud dad, and you've already heard that. My wife, Chris, and I... It's crazy, I know. My wife and I want to thank you all for not only your collective years of service here to the community, but for welcoming Lindsay, our daughter, for embracing her as a peer, and for making her feel just welcome and accepted. It's very important to us as a family, so we appreciate that. I've had the good fortune, as you've already heard, of working with a lot of you over the years, and in some I was thinking, I see Judge Thompson wasn't able to make it, but in some cases I worked with some of their fathers. So imagine how old that makes me feel. I work with other parents of some of the sitting judges here now in different capacities, but truly an honor, and so thank you all for being here. There's a lot I could say about Lindsay. You've heard a lot of it already. My wife and I were talking about this. We thought early on she might be an attorney. We had no way of knowing she would be a judge. But I think it started, she was about 6 years old, and it was a very passionate pleading for a puppy. And it was so well worded, well articulated. It was one of her first pleadings. You know, there were obstinate objections to certain vegetables at the dinner table at night, but very well, pronounced objections. You could typically count on Lindsay to move for continuance on weekend chores. And there's always a good oral argument to be had if Lindsay had something on her mind. And she's just always been an effective communicator. She's genuine. She's honored me in a different portion of this program this morning to administer the oath. You get old and you get set in the mountain. It's an oath that I have taken several times. The Honorable R. Wallace Pack gave me that oath. Many of you judges and many people in this courtroom know that name. It's an oath I never forgot. It's an oath I took seriously, and I know she'll do the same. So that's an honor to be able to do that. I know that there are a lot of dignitaries. Some were mentioned in the room. There's distinguished guests. There's elected officials and friends, and far too many to name. But today, and I could probably go on and on about all of that, but today it is about Lindsay. I do want to say, Amira led into some of this with Tyler, Shannon, so many of you here again, too many to name. But I will tell you that nobody knows Lindsay better than Krista and I. That stands to reason. Nobody knows her better than we do. And the single biggest dilemma in her decision to pursue this seat on the bench was whether or not to leave the state attorney's office. It's the truth. I mean, this was a discussion we had in intimate circles as a family many, many times. She loved it there, and it was much more than the people. I'm going to talk about Steve and Joe D in just a minute, but Amira, you have taken and continued to foster and cultivate a work environment there, a team camaraderie that really impresses people. And not only have you made an impression on her, but your staff and the team you've assembled around you, from Rich and Paul Poland, and it's too many to name all the way down. But Lindsay struggled with that and whether to leave the state attorney's office. So I just want you to know that made a big difference to her. Thank you for what you said about her. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving her a chance. Actually, it was Steve Russell that hired Lindsay, first hired her. Steve, I'm so glad you're here. You're a great friend. I know you're sitting next to one of your best friends, Mr. Corso. And Steve and I enjoyed the opportunity to work together over many years. A hard-nosed prosecutor, put in a great deal of service in this community, in this region. And so thank you for being here today and for giving her a chance, out of law school and sort of passing the torch to Amira. Mr. D'Alessandro, Joe D, as most of us know, Joe D'Alessandro. I spoke with him at great length last night on the phone. I'm very, very close with him. And he is currently, as we speak, was long pre-committed to his 66th, I want to date him, he'll probably get mad at me for sharing this, but his 66th high school reunion. So tonight, just past midnight, at 3 o'clock in the morning, Joe will board a flight, the honor flight. I think most people in this room, I know Judge Gagliardi and Judge McGowan, you mentioned veterans, your involvement there. The Collier Lee honor flight takes off tonight, or tomorrow morning, you say, at 3 o'clock in the morning. And Joe will be on that flight. And so for those two reasons, he couldn't be here today, but he did want me to extend his regrets for not being here. His sincerest congratulations, Lindsay, to you last night. And he reminded me, I told him, I said, Joe, I get it. I understand you can't be there. It's going to be great. Amira's going to speak. I think Mr. Russell's going to be there, the judges. And he said, Mike, I hired all those people. Everybody knows Joe D knows that story. He did. He hired Steve Russell. He hired everybody. So this circuit was created in 1969, and I was 6 years old, and he was the guy. And then it was Steve, and now it's Amira. So again, I could go on and on about others, but today it's about you, Lindsay. It's about your accomplishments. We're here to celebrate your achievements and applaud who you are and what you're all about. I think I'd probably better to leave it at that, because I really do find myself emotional. I think a lot of it's age. I really do. I'm serious. You reflect back, and so much. And as I've told people, I told a lot of the court security staff when I came here, I miss the people. I love the people. I just got tired of all the other drama, But we live in a good community. You mentioned the different, of course, civil and criminal cycles that you work, and Lindsay's currently civil, obviously with a pretty significant background in a criminal background, so she's learning, which is a good thing. But we are very fortunate here, not only for Lindsay, of course, who I'm most proud of, and this is your moment, all these judges, the chief judge on down, and those that couldn't assemble with us today, our state attorneys we talked about, our law enforcement. We live in a pretty good community where the rule of law still matters. And I know we've got defense attorneys, Danny. I do. And that's a good thing, and it's a great balance. But people are held accountable in this region. And it didn't take long to look around this country and see absolute out of control in the streets and know that we do have it well here. So I'm really proud. Liz, and of course, so is your mom. Her younger sister's in North Carolina, couldn't be here today, but we're very, very proud of you. Needless to say, we wish you the best. We got your back. We are anxious for them to move out of our home. We love her. She smiles. Danny's Danny. The baby's wonderful. She changed our life. We're back here full time now just because the grandbaby couldn't have 15 hours between us. But they got 6 feet of water in their home. And so, and I know Judge Mira and others I'm sure had significant issues. I know Ryan Doyle, a lot of us did. It was a bad storm. Fortunately, we're on high ground out in Henry County these days with a little bit of elbow room, but we've loved having you there. And of course, they'll come visit when they move out. But we support you. People say, you know, raising kids. I mean, you've never really stopped raising. It's good. And so we were able to be with her through a lot of this process. She's ready. She'll work hard. She has genuine humility. She's a passion for public service and a good work ethic. I know there's work for you. Congratulations. Emotional since the day she got married. And it wasn't because she married Danny. I love Danny. That just got, just the times you get emotional. So with that, I'll rest my case. I know that the judge is going to announce another part I alluded to earlier, the oath of office, but thank each and every one of you for being here today. I see some great faces, great friends, and Lindsay, you do a good job for us. You really will. Thank you.
Two comments on was that I really like carrot cake. And Jody hired me. So at this time, Mr. Scott will deliver the oath of office. I'd ask Judge Garza and her husband, the much maligned, to join one for the oath.
As I said earlier, it's an oath I've taken. It's an oath I've administered to hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. Many of these uniforms in the room. It's a privilege to give them the oath. So it's an oath we take seriously in our family. Lindsay, if you please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Lindsay Garza,
Lindsay Garza,
do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the government and the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Florida, that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state of Florida, and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of county judge on which I'm now about to enter. So help me God. You're in, Your Honor.
This was very stressful planning this. As you heard a little bit before, there's been a lot going on in our life. Not only am I learning a new career, but I'm rebuilding my home. I have a beautiful miracle growing inside of me, and I'm chasing around a toddler, and I had to get a new car. So there's all these things going on, and I have to plan this investiture, and it's been a little stressful putting it all together, the food, the speakers, and all these moving parts. But it is truly, really rewarding. Everyone told me just enjoy it, soak it up. And I've been doing that as I sit here and listen to all the things that you all have said about me. Truly kind words. I look out and I see so many of you, Mudge, hi. So many of you that are here and that came to support me. It is truly touching from the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you enough for being here. First, I have to thank God for all my blessings. I am truly blessed. I have an incredible family, incredible friends, an incredible support system. And I've been very healthy, thank God. So I thank God for all my blessings. To the Lee County community, I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for the people that put me in office. And so I am extremely, extremely grateful for this opportunity to serve our community. I think of that every time I put on this robe. The very first time, January 3rd, 2023, my first day, I had hearings, and I put on this robe. Not this one, it was a temporary robe at the time, but I immediately felt this sense of great responsibility, and I feel it every single time I put on the robe. When I go in there, the way the community looks at the robe, the way they look to the judiciary. What's behind me is not called the throne, it's called the bench. And we wear black as a symbol of neutrality and impartiality, not because we think we're better than anyone else. We're here to serve the community, and I feel a great responsibility to do that every single time I come into the courtroom. So I'm very appreciative to our community for this opportunity to serve. I have to also give credit to Terry Miller and TM Strategies, my campaign team, Elaine and Riley, who are here today as well, that have helped me so much put this together. Without them, none of that would have been possible. It was a lot to navigate, different rules for judges when you're running a campaign, and I could not have done that without them, so I'm very appreciative for Terry Miller and his team. Amira, I could go on and on. Thank you so much for everything you've said. Tyler, Shannon, it's so good to see your faces. Jen, I can't wait to give everyone hugs after this. I'm so excited. But I cherish the time that I spent with my former colleagues, my former SAO family, the lessons that we learned in the trenches together, the friendships that I've continued to maintain with those of you. I'm truly grateful from the bottom of my heart. To Scott Wilsker and court administration, when I made this transition, coming from the state attorney's office now into the judiciary and things I needed to do, I couldn't have done it without you and your team at court administration. I mean, the HR department, the IT guys that helped set up everything, the facilities coordinator, Brooke, Sarah Miles, that put all this together, that helped me get my desk and everything, all of those little miscellaneous things in my office so that I could get up and running that first week and do a good job. The people that actually make us look good in the courtroom are Lee County clerks. So many of the clerks that have worked with us have really just been so helpful. I've seen it from afar, but now as a judge, the clerks do such a tremendous job for us, and especially coming into a civil docket. Like my dad mentioned, my background is in criminal, and so here I am now on a civil docket, so it's definitely a big learning curve, and the clerks and the case managers have been extremely instrumental in helping me look good and look like I know what I'm doing. But I'm learning, I'm getting there, and I have my colleagues to thank for that as well. They have been extremely supportive as soon as day one, and even before day one, welcoming me, making me feel a part of my new work family, the judiciary, helping me not just with my house or baby advice, but just day-to-day things. When I come back from the bench and I have to talk about an issue, have been just so helpful, and I appreciate all the advice and the open door policy that everybody has to go to them with questions. So thank you all so much for being here and for all of that. Lee County Sheriff's Office, our bailiff staff, my bailiff, Deputy Garcia. They're incredible. Not only do they keep us safe, but they keep things moving, they keep things organized, they bring order to the courtroom, and I'm very appreciative for everything that they do. Our judicial assistants, Chief Judge McHugh hit the nail on the head. We could not do our jobs without you all. And Heather, thank you so much for being my judicial assistant. This is obviously a really big change for me, not just being a judge, going from an advocate to a judge, but also the subject matter is also different for Heather. She was with me when I was an SVU prosecutor, and so she knows the criminal world, and we're both coming into the civil world and learning together. And the other judicial assistants have been so helpful to us. So thank you, and thank you, Heather, for agreeing to be with me on this journey. I'd be remiss if I did not shout out one of my colleagues, and we're not going to sing, but today is a very special day for Judge Gagliardi. It's her birthday, and so let's do a little applause. We do have birthday cupcakes at the reception, so I hope everybody indulges in those. To my family, I love you all so much. There's a lot of people here in my family that couldn't be here. My sister, my grandma, a lot of my aunts and uncles and cousins that live in various parts of the country, but have been so supportive of me from beginning when I was born. Unconditional love, I only knew that growing up, unconditional love and support, and that's why I'm here before you, because of that love and support that my family has fostered in me and my sister. To my husband, thank you so much for stepping up and helping out. Like I said, we've been going through a lot, and Danny's been great. He was meant to be a girl dad, folks. So for those of you who don't know, the juror in the box here is a girl, and another girl, so we have two girls. And Danny was meant to be a girl dad. He gave them both their names, and he's really stepped up, not just as a dad, but doing things for the house. You know, we're picking out blinds and shutters and floor tile and doorknobs that need to go on the front door. We're doing so many different things. There's so many moving parts, and Danny's really spearheaded a lot of that because he knows that I'm trying to do a new job. I'm in a new career, and this is a very demanding job that I take seriously, and I want to do well. And so he's really done a lot for the house and for our family, and I'm very appreciative for you, even though I may not tell you every day how thankful I am. People call us Your Honor, and they stand for us when we enter the room, and they call us Judge so-and-so, and these are all signs of respect because of this prestigious position that we have. But like Amira said, the proudest title I will ever have is being a mom. I wish Malia could be here, our two-year-old daughter, but she'd be swinging from the lights. She couldn't be here. But they are the source of my strength. They really are. Along the campaign trail, I had a reporter ask me, how are you going to do it all? You know, you're a mom. How are you going to be able to be a judge and do this juggle? And you just learn to do it as a mom. But they really are the source of my strength. And I hope to set an example for them, like my parents have set for me. I am so proud to be before you today, and also honored. People say Your Honor, but it really is an honor for me to serve you all in our community every day. I recently shared that with a litigant, calling me Your Honor, Your Honor. He said it so many times, and I said, sir, I appreciate that, and it's a sign of respect, but I want you to know it's an honor to serve you in this way. It was a small claims case. Those are I do in county civil. No matter how small the case, how big the case, to that person that comes in, it's one of the most important days in their life. And so I will try to serve with excellence as I continue every day learning And I thank you all very much for being here, and I can't wait to mingle with you all, so I hope you stick around at the reception so I can say hi and give hugs, but thank you so much. I can't thank you all enough.
On behalf of the judges of the 20th Judicial Circuit, we welcome you, Judge Garza, to our group, and are very excited to have you as the newest county court judge here in Lee County. I knew beforehand that you were doing a great job, and this is only reaffirmed that. And so, once again, very excited to have you on board, and very excited to have carrot cake. Judge Garza and her family would like to invite you to join them for a reception on the second floor outside courtrooms 2A and 2B. And so with that, the court of the 20th Judicial Circuit will be in recess.
All rise! Court is adjourned.
Super.